a swimming pool, and the county is forming a public building commission and without an election. But it's, I guess it's the determination of what kind of support we feel that there's there, and as the public building, our task force feels like the election in 2011 where the 6 mills was passed 2-to-1 countywide for support of long-term care facilities in the county, and then the surveys that were done as recently as 2014 that showed that there was still that majority support for long-term care and modernizing it. We felt that we have that support, and that really we don't need to go to an election unless there's, you know,
you have
a protest. And 5% of the voters, when you calculate the voters in the county and what 5%, those signatures, if it was presented, you could get those signatures, that many signatures pretty quickly.
Does that 5% come into play, being they already voted in 2011?
I think to support
they said they wanted done there, but it's still there.
The minority still could step up. So that's why we're being, if we appear to be fairly cautious, that's why we don't want to
And you might also want to point out normally the short-term nature of the PBC. It has an initial function, as we discussed last week, and then normally you're operating in the background without any particular function to work on once the bond's been through.
Unless there's a future financing.
Right.
That's correct.
Brett, you hear what he said. This PVC really function is just this gap between now and when we get the USDA loan. That's really the only function. It's just a bridge to get us through this whole project. It's not like 30 years. It's available 30 years. We could maybe utilize it in the future. Maybe you as commissioners could utilize it in the future for other projects. But the truth of the matter is, for our use, it's just this little bridge type thing. And I might mention, this is really pretty vanilla, and we're here and we're saying, guys, can you do this and this? And we're really overwhelming you with information almost. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, these are pretty simple projects. These have been done all over the state for years. In 17 years, she's saying she's had one that she knew of where they protested. Our county people have already voted. They've already said, hey, let's get something. So I think it's going to be a pretty simple process. So I know the eastern part of the county has already said, let's get it. When are you doing it, not if.
And you had continued contract with John.
Yes,
if
we
can
can.
Go through it all, then look at the
if you're, yeah. The third item that we had on our list for you today was the continuance of the contract with John Grace as our consultant. Essentially, I can hand out a copy of that for you. Currently, we negotiated this contract with the initial contract with John that he's getting about $2,400 a month. That entails one visit a month that he comes out. If he's like last month, or this month, he'll probably be out here 2 times. Especially for a meeting with. Bi-monthly with a commissioners meeting, so there's additional travel expenses and lodging and such when he does that. But essentially, we negotiated a contract with him. He's agreed to continue at serving us at that rate. I think we've more than recouped the expenses that his expenses and the fact that he was able to negotiate with the Hutton construction firm to lower their fees, the fact that he researched the Public Building Commission and discovered that was our best option. So, you know, I think we're very comfortable working with him, and he works well with our architect, Frank Prager, who was here at the last meeting, and appears to, you know, he's well aware of projects throughout the state, and is comfortable with the construction management firm that we, and his rapport with Gilmore and Bell is quite good. So he's representing us quite well and kind of keeps us on track. You know, we have a timeline which I can share with you. We're going to try to get all of this accomplished. We have to get certain things done on a timely basis.
Why don't you share one with the newspaper, if you might. Dolores, yeah,
If not, I can get a copy from you.
Okay, got it.
you need one.
And, you know, hopefully, you know, we might we haven't visited with him, but, you know, keeping the public informed, and possibly we can have John write an article that could be submitted to the paper on a timely basis as to where the task force is in this whole process, so that the public is kind of kept up to speed. I think probably eventually we will have a public meeting where we will discuss where we are in the process and what the future looks like. Hopefully that can be done after we get some drawings from the architect, the perspective of what the facility might look like. That seems to generate interest if you have something visual that you can look at and just not ideas. So I guess that's, do you have any questions for John in regards to his?
No, I think you guys are doing a good job. As far as the attorney fees, is that part of the original estimate, or is that's added?
Yeah, that'll be in the construction budget.
And that is budgeted
Yeah.
for that
Right.
7,000?
Yep.
Okay.
I might comment when she wrote the letter, and as far as from the attorney fee, one of the things we have made careful is you're not going to be obligated to Good Samaritan to continue on in any way. It's a 501c3, so it's going to give you that flexibility, because I know that contract will be coming up for negotiation here soon, but it'll allow you to use whoever you want to, which indeed could be Good Samaritan. So I think it's you know, it's give you all the flexibility I think you need to go forward. So.
And that's probably one of the other things that the task force will have a discussion with Sarah and her firm in regards to what in the long term, because the contract or lease with Good Samaritan Society has 3 years or 2 years left on it.
And it only addresses the skilled nursing facility. There's no provision for assisted living. If it begins to work in November of 17, you're still about 6 months
Yeah.
with the existing contract, but not including assisted living.
So one of the other options would be in establishing a nonprofit 501c3 entity that essentially would be the entity instead of the county that would be operating the facility maybe sometime in the future. So the task force will probably do some research on what might be the best option, county or a nonprofit 501c3 entity that would be operating. This entity would have a board that could very well be appointed by the county commissioner, just like the hospital board is. So
It'd be similar probably to the city housing authority in concept.
So, we'll probably have that discussion with,
Yeah. That's in the future.
Sarah's firm about what, if we're into this, we may do some research on that as to what might be the best entity to operate this facility. And obviously, you'd have the final say-so.
I might also interject, you can do agreements with for-profit entities, but it would have to be structured, the contract would have to be structured totally different than the way you have it with Good Samaritan. So that is also an option out there that we can certainly discuss in the future.
Okay, that's our presentation. If you have any other questions, we would, I guess we would entertain your approval of these, our 3 recommendations to the board.
I think your background on your construction manager, I think is good. I like that they're from Wichita, which is where you guys are from, and you obviously dealt with them before. And John's doing a good job.
Yeah.
So I don't have problems with any of the 3. But I just want to, before signing stuff, I want to read this stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Front and back, so.
On John's contract on page 10, I think where it says by Tom Keller, I think that should be by the chair of the Board of Commissioners.
Yeah, sorry.
I know that you probably
I'm just trying.
brought this off of your
Right.
saved information. That's the only thing I noticed on the contract, but of course our attorney's gonna have to look this over. I'm just gonna put my copy over here with his stuff. Now, on Gilmore and Bell, do we need to do anything today on your,
Not
because I know
necessarily.
you said you wanted to read everything over.
Yeah.
Well, just a thought, I mean, if, the contract she laid out is just for her to begin work,
Yeah.
to prepare the documents.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're,
Which I've already started.
yeah, but it doesn't mean that you're doing the resolution on the Public Building Commission. It just is an engagement letter to have her begin the work and then come back with us.
We could probably do that today then, couldn't we?
Yeah.
That's this first one that you said.
Just
You
the
want me to make a
letter.
motion?
Yeah, we need to,
Correct.
I think we'll need 3 individual motions, one for the Hutton building and hire Gilmore and Bell, and then the contract with John.
Okay. I'll make a motion that Hutton Construction be our construction manager for the proposed senior living facility.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
The next one would be make a motion for Gilmore Bell.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion that Gilmore Bell be contracted to start the process for the Public Building Commission.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. And then our contract with John Grace.
With John? Why don't we have our attorney check that first? And, I mean, it's not effective until January 1st,
that's
so, yeah.
Okay. To the Senior Living Task Force, thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, you've done a great job, folks.
You guys
We'll be at your next commissioner's meeting.
That's great.
Going to take a quick break.
Stop and be right back.
Okay, sure. Sorry.
Can I get the three construction companies that you mentioned?
How you doing?
Okay.
Good.